Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming a little book review and I'm going to talk about You Reached Sam by Dustin Thao. I actually received a hard copy of this all the way back before it was released and I had 100% plans to read it because it was released in November 2021 and then I never read it. I don't actually know why. I remember I was going to read it for November. I don't remember what I did in November, but I didn't have time for it then. And then in December, I was planning to read it then too. And then I never read it. And now we are here in May. And I actually finally also got myself a actual physical copy of it. So I could hold it in this video. But yeah, people have heard about this book. No, it's really sad, and it truly was. It was a sad but very, very beautiful and stunning book. It follows Julie, who is 17 years old. She's in the last year of high school, and she had her whole life planned out. She was gonna go to college in a certain place, and she was gonna go with her boyfriend, and everything in life was pretty nice, I would say. But then her boyfriend Sam dies really suddenly and very, I was gonna say tragically, but all that is in general, I would say tragic, but not all, but you get what I mean. Her whole life is unraveled and she has to deal with this loss, obviously. But then she gets a voicemail from him that he left her, and when she listens to this, she decides to call him back and he answers. They had this little temporary connection and she can keep calling to him and talk to him, but the more she talks to him to say goodbye, the more it is harder to say goodbye. And that is basically the story. It is, you know, a YA contemporary story, so it's not like it has like a plot, but it's more about like, you know, life and emotions, and they usually have a theme, and here I would say the theme is loss and grief, but also, you know, just life. And it brings up, I think, so many different themes around losing someone and the grief and loss of losing someone, as well as how other feels around it and how like everyone experiences this differently, how you act when this happens. I think it explored all the different things really, really well. Like, everyone has lost someone, I assume, or most people have, and everyone reacts very differently, and it's just a horrible experience that is very painful. And I feel like the aftermath of it is just so unimaginable sometimes. You don't know what will happen. And here we just had this story where it was very, very sad and heartbreaking, but it was just very, I was going to say natural, because it's just what happens after someone goes away or passes away or dies. I don't even know how to say words. But then we also have, you know, this extra thing where she can actually talk to him and say goodbye. A lot of people don't get to say goodbye to their loved ones before they die, and she gets this chance, but it's really, really difficult. It makes it even more difficult, I think, to like knowing you have to say goodbye eventually, but then it's just so hard to, you know, get to that point. So that was a bit of rambling, so I'm gonna try to be a bit more concrete. But basically what happens right after Sam dies, this is not a spoiler, this is literally what the book starts out with, is that Julie throws out all his stuff, and she hasn't been to his funeral, she hasn't been talking to anyone, she's just like really isolated herself. And then everyone around her is like, of course they feel for her and they want to help her, but doing this she also isolated other people who's also mourning Sam, and they also feel a bit left alone because they were like this friend group kinda. The others are also mourning and are kind of left alone, especially one friend who was like really close with them feels alone because Julie locks her out as well. Her name is Mika. And Mika is just like, now she was left mourning alone. And it's just a very, very, I was gonna say, vulnerable thing, because obviously Julie didn't mean to do this, but it's also just, it can be so hurtful for the other person as well. As I said, people act differently. And just, you know, it's about also Julie coming back to life again, finding life in her life after losing such a huge part of it. And I feel like, I'm not going to say it went quickly here, but I feel like we get to see Julie find these things again. But I also think that if you're a person who needed a year or longer or 5 years or whatever, you know, they're never really gone. But like, I mean, like, if you isolate yourself, it's not good for you, I would say. And it's not like I recommend it, but I feel like if a person takes longer than this, if they take, you know, a year to get back to life again, that's also okay. You need to take your time to go over these emotions, not like get over them, but like go over them and feel them. But it's also okay to feel alive again, even though someone else you wish were alive weren't. And that's what the book really says. It's like, how can Julie feel joy in life? How can she do all these things she wanted to do without guilt because Sam is not there with her anymore? And I feel like it approaches these subjects really, I was gonna say, beautifully. Yeah, she finds beautiful friendships. She finds connections with other people that's Sam left behind. And they all like connect over this death. And it's really sad, you know, that you find friends after the fact. But it also shows that so many things can be put together without maybe that being what you wanted it to be, but it definitely is a thing. I do wish we saw more of Sam's parents, because Julie mentions they were really close, but they are barely even there because, you know, she did the isolation thing. And I do wish that we got some sort of more moments with them. We get some, but like I feel like it would be really interesting to see more of their relationship. That's like one thing I wish more out of the book. But yeah, we also get flashbacks in the book where we go back to the relationship and see how they actually were together. And it's dang, that was sad, because they had this sweetest relationship. And also just talking to him then now, and them like telling each other all the stuff they wish they could have done, and how like Sam telling her some surprises he had planned for her and he never got to do it. Dang, that was so sad. Like I was just like, dang. This is I'm laughing away my pain right now because I don't want to cry on camera. And I didn't cry reading it. I actually read the whole book at work, and like I don't usually cry at work, and I didn't cry, but I definitely like felt teary, and I felt the sadness so profoundly because it was written so well, I think. You know, there's so many more things I could talk about as well. How, you know, loved ones are never really gone. Sam like dies really young. He says that he's really sad that he died so young because he didn't get to leave a mark behind. He feels like he didn't do anything. He literally lived just for like 70 years and then died. But I also feel like, of course that's a tragedy, like to die so young, of course, but there's also just, he didn't become a famous musician as he wanted. Even if he didn't do that, he still had people who loved him and people who cared for him, and they will always remember him. So it's important to remember that even though you didn't become a superstar or a millionaire or whatever, you are important no matter what you do. And it's also like a kind of book where it tells you that even though life doesn't go the way you planned, it's still your life, and you need to just appreciate it for what it is. Not just because you might die young and someone die young and you should feel guilty for doing this, but just you don't need to do all the things you plan to do all the time. Not just because someone died, but just in general. And that's also okay. And I felt like the book just told you, basically, it gave you a hug and was just like, it's okay, calm down. You can do this. And I just saw Julie around with the people she interacted with. Like she interacted with Oliver, who was Sam's best friend that she never really liked before, and then finding like her friendship with Mika again, finding friendship with other people at work, and her mom, how like she isolated herself for her but find really comfort in her later. And it was just really nice. And even if you don't have all those things, there is something for you like there. And because it is a book about death, it is also a book about life, you know. It gives you those two reflections against each other. And I don't know, dang, it was really nice, okay? I feel like I'm trying to discuss, but it's just like difficult because I'm not that cool and smart. And it's just like, it's that all those things I talked about, it's just like the vibes of the book. And I feel like I can't really spoil it. It's not like a spoilery book. I think the characters acted okay, and I think the story was beautiful. Like, I don't know what else like to say, but I do appreciate being able to talk about these themes and like have full focus on it for a video, because like in wrap-up stuff you don't have time for that as much. Overall, I just think Sam was literally the sweetest, and I am so sad he died. But I also hope he knows how many people loved him and will always remember him. Julie, I think she will be okay. She will have this sadness, but she will be okay. I like the phone calls, you know, it's a huge focus, but it becomes less so a focus because Sam is dead, and that's what, like, all the things I just told you, it moves, not moves on, but it moves forward. Forward is the better word. Moving on sounds like you're gonna forget and like leave it behind, but you don't really leave it behind, do you? And as a person who has been close to people who has lost someone really, really suddenly and tragically, it's just, it hit me because it made me think about all those things. And I feel like anyone who has done that, and most people have, you know, lost someone or know someone who's lost someone, can really feel it profoundly in this book, like the sorrow but also the beautifulness. And I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that's okay. I would recommend it, but I also would be careful who I recommend it to, because like it's not like if I knew someone or lost someone I would be like, here, read this book, you will feel better. Like that would be pretty terrible, you know. So like I think it's a good book to reflect upon and read, but also just like a beautiful story in general. But like it's sad. I appreciate contemporaries like this though, because it's like has like a little magical pinch, you know, with the phone calls and stuff. But contemporaries generally is usually about like, you know, life and the choices you have and like what you need to do, etc, etc. And I feel like this like is like an example of what I really enjoy about them. And this was very enjoyable. I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars because I tend to not give 5 out of 5 stars that easily. But it's not like it was the most amazing book ever. I don't know how to describe it. Like I usually give 5 out of 5 stars for books I absolutely and completely loved. But it was a really good book. And like I really liked it. And I would definitely 100% recommend it. So it's like a 4 out of 5 stars. I know like a lot of people have read it. Like it's very popular. I hope this review could convey to you that you should definitely read it. And like if you like the vibes I just described, then you have it. And I feel like I, in my head, imagined this review to go completely differently than what I've been talking about. But we are just rolling with it. I even like would like their sequel. It sounds maybe weird, but it would be really fun to see a sequel like from maybe several point of views of Sam's life to see how they got on. But maybe that is just me. Like his brother and Julie in the future. I don't even know. But I hope you enjoyed. It has some good moments for you. I haven't spoiled anything. I just talked about literally the generalness of the book. You will read it and really appreciate some moments in here. And yay, I leave a phone emoji down below if you enjoyed this. You will see me soon in a new one. Thank you so much for watching this little review. I have missed making singular reviews. I haven't done one in almost a year, I think, or at least like 8 months or something. And hopefully I will do more in the future. I'm just rolling. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.